this thing, and I just am saying that to remind myself.
You're more than welcome to jump in at any time and take over.
Oh.
All right, boys and girls. Welcome. This is our second Cracker Barrel. So last time we covered a bunch of random topics that kind of ended up merging all together and getting a lot of discussion going. So feel free to jump in at any time. If you have a question that's leading in a different direction, feel free to jump in and lead us in that direction as long as we're most of the way done with the conversation. If you have a very specific question and we are not getting to it, jump in, we will pivot and we will redirect. So we're here to try to help answer any questions. Nobody has any of the answers. I want to make that very direct. We've owned Acorn here. We're going to do a quick introduction. We've owned Acorn here. We're going on our 5th season here. We bought the neighboring resort, Brindley's, last year. We're going to go into our 2nd season there. I don't know any more than anybody else. So I want to make that very clear to everyone. This is just stuff that we do. Also remember, while you're doing this, everyone has their own demographics. Everyone has their own lakes, and everyone has their own little personalities of their resorts. So feel free to interrupt, adjust, and pivot at any point in time. So if there's anything that anyone would like to kick it off with question-wise, let's do that now. Otherwise, I'm going to grab one from the proposed questions by everyone else, and we can head in that direction.
I have one.
Go.
So, you can take the girl out of the resort, but you can't take the resort out of the girl. And so where we live now, we've got a little boathouse that we're renting on Airbnb. And I had somebody call me directly for it. And so we were working out the financials, and I said, why don't you just send me a check for half? And then you can leave a check in when you leave. And this was a 35-year-old professional woman. And she said, I don't have a check. So, and of course I don't do credit cards. So we ended up doing a Venmo. And I'm just really curious, is that getting to be more common? Because that clearly was not in the scene when I had my resort. So I'm curious to know if that's trending, if payments trending that way.
Yes, I have noticed that between both my businesses, less and less people have checks. We've noticed that a lot of our resort guests come with a pile of cash, or it is the matriarch. Usually it's the matriarch, not the patriarch, or the family that's coming in with the checkbook, and all the family has paid into them because they're the one that still carries a checkbook. We are looking at some other ways to accept payment for both of my businesses. So I do landscape, and this is going to be our 2nd season here at Tri-Birches Resort. No, a lot of people don't have checkbooks. So finding other ways to do ACH payments or Zelle or Venmo or something like that. Venmo's been one that's been brought up by our guests as well. Can certainly be a beneficial thing.
So we were told that if we started taking Venmo regularly, we would be flagged as a business and they would start charging us just as much as a credit card. Does anyone have any experience of that?
There is a business Venmo account. So you technically should, if you're choosing to accept payment like that, accept it as a business. And it does charge a fee, but what I'm sure others will, it's actually been less than our regular credit card processing fee. So I just ordered, it's free, a Venmo kit. Do you have that, Deanna, where it has your QR code that you can literally put up at your checkout or wherever. And that fee is less than what we're currently paying. I did just find GoDaddy payments is even cheaper, but yeah. So I don't think you need to worry about being flagged as a business. I think you just make yourself a business account, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's good to know that the GoDaddy payments might be cheaper, as I just saw that was an option as well, as we have GoDaddy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 2.3% plus 10 cents a transaction. If they enter their own credit card or if they're in person, if you manually type it in, I think it's like 3.2% or something. So.
This is Tracy at Cedar Point Resort. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. We embed a link into Jennifer into a letter. Either it can go through our resort letter or it can go through Venmo or Airbnb that they can select. And then it's called, I put it in chat, it's called Autobooks, and they have a partnership with our bank, a partnership with many, many, many banks. We just let the guests know that they will be charged an additional percentage to use that, and they're usually more than happy to do it. So there's that option. It's a pretty simple process. For us, it works pretty nice.
Okay.
And then it just goes right to your bank. The dollars just go directly into your bank within shortly after they do that.
Okay. Part of the reason why I'm on this Cracker Barrel call is I'm just really curious. I mean, I'm trying to stay current and I want to know what topics are of, relevance to resort owners now, so that I'm on top of my game, I guess. But this is very interesting. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I wasn't interested in opening a Venmo account for our business. I have one for the kids and things like that, but I wasn't interested in doing it for that. So I just wanted to keep it as clean as possible.
Perfect. As we kind of gear up here for the spring, let's talk a little bit about cleaning and changeover and things like that. I got a question here that comes in. It says, what has helped you make the changeover days easier? What is your biggest stress that day? And how do you adjust for that stress? I'll go first. Our biggest stress is hopefully the cleaners actually show up. We have a lot. We have 22 cabins at Brindley's, and we have 14 cabins here at Acorn. So we're running 12 to 14 people. And if it gets less than that, it becomes a big deal. So that's our largest stress. We haven't found a way to avoid that. We've been looking into work campers because we do have a campsite. We hold a campsite for some staffing. So we're looking at work campers, but I haven't found one that I thought was appropriate for the business. So that's all I have.
So I can touch on that a little bit. So I've got a friend who's doing work away. And so she travels internationally and she works for people. And in exchange, she gets free food, which can take any form. Maybe they'll just feed her. Maybe she has to do her own cooking and they'll buy the groceries. And they also provide lodging. And she said the stays can be anywhere from 2 weeks to 3 months. So all I know it's called work away. And I don't even know that you would necessarily get international people. You might even get just some within the United States that could actually drive. So just a thought, might be an opportunity for somebody somewhere.
I don't want to hog the airways this time. So I want to step back, but I'm happy to also answer. So our first year here, I did everything the way that I tried to learn and observe how she had been doing it for a long time. And then the next year I tried to figure out what worked for me. And I realized very quickly that her energy levels were much higher than mine. So I needed to minimize my steps in a day. So that was really my focus. Instead of going into a cabin 2 or 3 times, I tried to only go into a cabin 1 time. So that meant I started prepping buckets of bedding and supplies, and I really relied on my cleaners So I do everything I could on Friday or during the week. And then my outdoor guys would deliver the buckets to each cabin of the bedding and stuff like that. And refill supplies would go to the cleaners versus me doing it. And then I could really either focus on hopping in with a team if a cleaner didn't show up or someone was sick or something like that. It was okay then if I wasn't bouncing around as much. I wasn't as relied upon in the sense of delivering all the supplies ahead of time. And then I was able to do a better job, I think anyway, checking all the cabins after the cleaners, because I always wanted to be the last person to see something before a guest walked in. And then thirdly, I really relied on, and I still rely on, who I call my managers, like the couple cleaners that have been here year after year. They're super responsible. I trust their eye with everything. You know, if I couldn't make it into a cabin or something like that, or needed an errand run, like they would do it. And so I also relied heavily on the staff on my team. So, but minimizing steps and efficiency was like my overarching goal.
I love that. That was one of the first things that we set up as a system is let's prep all the baskets to go out with all of the laundry. I had a cheat sheet of what beds were in what cabins. And we have 9 cabins that we were turning over. Maybe not all of them turned over every Saturday, but there was a number of weeks where it was all of us, and it took 3. I have my dad cleaning bathrooms because he volunteered, bless his heart. And then there would be one of my boys that would be helping out, and then myself. And usually I was supposed to be the last eyes through, but lo and behold, I would still end up missing something hidden in a cupboard. Like they would leave a package of cookies or something like that in a cupboard. My dad was really good at making sure he got all the extra worms out of the fridge though. So
nice.
Yeah. But I love that idea of prepping everything ahead of time. So that meant then I had a golf cart full of all the extra supplies, but I too would want to make sure that I was like going through each of them just to make sure that there wasn't something crazy.
Yeah.
My question was with this is, how do you catch the people that forgot that their wife didn't come with them or their maid didn't come with them, and they left the sink full of dishes and the greasy fingerprints everywhere, despite you saying, we really appreciate you cleaning up and leaving the place as you found it?
I would say that cabin just takes a little longer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if they're repeat, you know that it's going to be like that every single year. And so that one, I might go in and like kind of clean before the cleaners even come in, so they're not disgusted.
We had this happen with guests who came year after year after year, and they're, you know, the babies became teenagers, became college kids and started having their own cabin. In that case, we knew the family well enough. We could just go and say, you know, this isn't okay. But it's really awkward if it's a newer guest. And yeah, so I think to me, it's kind of depends on the personal relationship I have with them. I'm just getting back to this question of trying to make Saturdays bearable. Last year, we had a terrible time, like everybody else, finding enough cleaners. So I'm impressed that you did it, Diane. Or is it Deanna? With three of you, because we also have 9 cabins, and I try to have at least a team of two teams of 2, and then I go in and do all the checking and everything. And they wouldn't show up without telling me until the night before, maybe. And so we tried offering them an end of year bonus if they were dependable, and it worked for a couple of them. But any suggestions for, first off, how to get people to want to do and because we just do Saturdays, and so it's 1 day a week. Yeah, and how to encourage them to be reliable.
I'd like to tell you that bonus thing would work, but we literally offered $20 to anyone who would just show up on time. $20. Wow. Just every single week. All you had to do was show up at 8 a.m. We paid out one time. One time we paid $20. one. And that was just because they were at 810. And I was so damn excited that they showed up at 810 that I ran in and grabbed $20 out of the cash register. Just doesn't.
Huh.
Yeah. We actually have thought of trying to change it. We have so many resorts in the area, so the staffing has always been a trouble, right? There's 22 resorts on our lake. So staffing is always a trouble here. We've actually thought about switching to Sundays just because then I know that I have all this other staff from all the other resorts that I could try to pick from, but I don't know if that'll work either.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think one really good topic for a school of resorting, because I know we've had cleaning product classes, but I think it'd be great if everybody gathered and said, you know, just describe their top 2 efficiencies. Because it sounds to me like with cleaners not showing, we all just have to get better about, like Kayla described, just being more efficient with all of our movement. And it could be that Teresa's found something that was awesome, like, you know, the best way to dust a chair. You know, it could be something super simple that, you know, Kayla would never think of on her own. Because I was doing some substitute cleaning for a resort, and they had a younger kid, you know, probably like 18 though, not all that young. And the first thing he did is he started vacuuming. That was the first thing he did when he went into like the living room. And I'm thinking, oh, this poor kid, he doesn't know what he's doing, you know, which just made me think, you know, training is key, but there's just no time to train. Yeah. But I think that'd be a good topic, just not products, but efficiencies.
Okay,
Those lines,
yeah.
So along those lines there, it's where do you get your bedding supplies, and do you color code your sheets?
I just thought that was going to be a common sense thing, but it wasn't, because I came into a hot mess of all different types of sheets here at the resort. And I'm like, okay, we're going to start color coding this, because how many of you can tell the difference between a full and a queen when it's in your hands? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't. So I had to start color coding them, and we're slightly working them out. As far as sourcing though, yeah, I want to know where everybody gets some better sheets that don't cost an arm and a leg that will last a while.
Amazon. We do all of our sheets off of Amazon.
Do?
All
what
of them.
Kind?
The most product one, most viewed sheets, they're actually excellent. The thread count isn't terrible. They hold up. They haven't been ripping. It's the Amazon. I'll give it to you. I'll put the link. I'll put the link in the thing.
I love Martex, has become my favorite. And I get them from, well, what's his company name? John Dale. How do you say his name? Jennifer, you know.
Is it from In-Room Supplies?
Yes, In-Room Supplies. And I tried to buy from Hospitality online or something like that, and they were just crap quality, and they're still sitting in a box in my living room I need to return, but there's a reshipping fee. And so I like Martex. So
Diana, you should call Kathy Marnick at Timber Trails. She's got some beautifully patterned sheets that they're wearing like iron, because the last time I saw her resort, which was like 8 years ago, she still had the same sheets and they still look fabulous. So you know, she'd be more than happy to help you. Just give her a call and tell her what your question is, and you can tell her I sent you.
I just put the link down in the chat. It's just Amazon Basics. King sheets are $30. They last. Everyone get the beat on them, and then you can have multiple sheets in case you have issues.
Yeah, but they're micro.
We have 3 sets. We have 3 sets for each bed now, whereas we only had 1.5 sets for the entire resort when we arrived. So they're not terrible.
We've also used In-Room Supplies for years, and John will help you. Like, he'll look out for like discontinued shades of, like, we have ivory for the queens and blue for the twins and stuff, and he'll help us find discontinued ones that are way marked down, and they've worn really well too.
Mm-hmm. Here, I can put how much it was in my last. I mean, shipping obviously has jumped significantly since 2020-ish, but
Ever in the cities anyway, John lets you come to the warehouse and pick them up, and you don't have to pay shipping.
that's a good point.
Okay, right along that same area, someone asked, do you wash your own laundry? What's your policy on guest children's accidents in the bed?
Mm-hmm. Well, we do not wash our own laundry. We do not have the capacity to do so. I do have a cleaner who used to do commercial laundry, and she would love to do our entire resort, but we just do not have, I don't have the wash machines or anything like that. Someday I think that would be great to add, as long as I have someone to help me with it. Wedding beds, I mean, we have mattress pads.
Yeah, we have mattress pads too. Most of the guests will just go and wash their own stuff because we have laundry facilities on site. Those who don't. Shit happens. You know what I mean. I mean, it happens. I mean, we have all had kids, so it happens. That's why we have 3 sets of sheets in case, something goes bad. I mean, if it's really, really bad and you just got to throw it out, then people have come in and be like, listen, I'm not cleaning it and you don't want this in your washing machine. So here's, $30 for the sheets or whatever. So we don't charge for any of that. And we definitely don't do our own laundry. They pick it up on Mondays. They drop it off on Thursdays, fluff and fold. So
my experience with that is if a family had a child that was a true bed wetter, they would usually come prepared, and they would put down whatever extra barrier that they wanted to use. And of course, I always appreciated that. I often thought too about maybe saying something in either on the website or on the thing on the fridge or whatever. If you have a bed wetter, please come and talk to me and we'll get you set up with whatever. And then I thought, no, that's not going to be good, because then I'm going to plant bedwetting into the minds of everybody else who doesn't have a bedwetter. So I thought, no, not going to do that. That's not wise. It was never really a problem though. So
they're usually so good. They feel so bad, and they'll either wash it themselves in our one that's for everyone, or they'll put it in a bag and be like, I'm so sorry, and hand it, Yeah. And we have extra, like the really waterproof extra plastic that we'll hand out if they ask for it. Like you said, they're usually know if they have kids like that. So, I mean, we'll do that ahead of time too, and give them an extra set of sheets. And yeah.
Perfect. Some of our laundry last year, we tested it in the fall. I work full time at the resort, so I'm not able to get our guests. So
Tracy, we can't. You're breaking up. I can't.
Shoot.
Sorry.
Type it.
Can you type it in the chat? Okay. Well, while she's doing that, let's head to another cleaning question. How often do you clean your shower curtains? Do you put a rug in the bathroom? And where do you get your toilet tissue in bulk?
All good questions.
Nothing.
Teresa's
we have rugs. We have.
You're on mute.
I was just going to say that we do put a bath mat in and a rug. However, last year we had somebody slip on a bath mat. And so I'm looking for ones that are less, that have a little bit grip on the back. And I'm not having such luck finding one that's not so expensive.
Yeah.
Brookside down, our neighbors, Joanna, if you guys remember Joanna, they had someone slip, what, 2 years ago maybe? And like the ambulance had to come, like it was.
Oh, wow.
I'm testing one right now for that same reason. I'm going to go get it. I have it in our downstairs bathroom. It's one of the how do you say it? Does anyone know Damacious earth? You know what I'm saying? Okay, one sec, you keep talking.
So we use the kind that have latex on the back by the shower or the tub, and we've never, I don't think they slip. They
No,
don't last forever.
I think she's talking about in tub mats.
No,
like,
no.
Oh, she was talking about impact. This was
she's
one
talking about
outside of the
in-tub
tub.
mats.
This
Yeah.
was outside. Okay.
Okay. Because those I have trouble keeping clean, the in-tub ones. So if you have a good kind, then you can, that are washable or something, that would be great to know about.
Is
So
that in tub or outside?
This is outside. And it's
they
hard.
slipped coming out of the shower. They didn't slip in the shower.
Mhm. Yep. Out of the shower.
Oh.
Out of the shower. And then it's supposed, okay. I'm gonna pour my water, I'm frozen. It's supposed to like soak it up.
How
But
washable is it though? That's the.
Well, so I would think we can just spray it on a Saturday, and then I'm not washing rugs too. So it's
Awesome.
an extra step. But what I'm worried about is that people aren't going to know that it's supposed to be like a rug, and they're going to be like, "Here's my rug." So I don't. It's supposed to dry, like it soaked it up. I don't know.
You'll have to put a little note in the cabin.
Yeah. It's your new mat, so you don't fall.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's awesome. I love the idea of not washing.
Oh, yeah.
Because we have a lot of really nice thick ones. I'm getting rid of the ones with the rubber back because you can't put them through the dryer because then they just fall apart and ruin our dryer. And we do the small load stuff like that here at the resort or in our house. And all the other linens are sent off and away, but that would be really cool. I've looked at those personally. I don't have a lot of those. I'm getting rid of those because those are slippery as all get out.
Oh, we have those as well, Kayla, for just in the cabin, but not next to the tub. So that's.
I mean, these are old. These are like
Mine are
up like Jennifer can say, but 40 years or so. So they're great.
Wow.
I tried the rubberback too, and they didn't last me a season. So I'm not buying another rubberback personally.
I hang them out on the clothesline, and so they don't go through the dryer, and that way they last probably 3 or 4 years, but then they're done.
Yeah.
All right, let's pause that for a second. Tracy was able to put in the chats. She says that they had started doing their own laundry, about half of it. They have their front desk staff during times they're obviously not working the front desk, go do the laundry during the summer, during the week. It looked to cut their laundry bill in half of this summer.
Oh, wow.
So that's significant. Unfortunately, my front desk staff is still us. So I don't want to do the laundry, but I love that idea. That's all. I mean, half of the laundry expenses, that's huge.
But is it really half the laundry expense when you still have the wear and tear on your machine, whatever else it takes to maintain your septic, and all of the laundry sauce that goes in there too, plus the time it takes to fold those?
But she's already paying
sheets.
She's already paying the front desk staff. So
yeah,
they're doing stuff on downtime. I get that. There's obviously a huge savings there. The machine wear and tear. I mean, if you have really good machines, you get those Queen, what are the Queen ones called?
Speed Queen.
Yes. Speed Queens. If you have those really nice commercial ones, those are not new machines that everyone uses, and they get the crap beat out of them every week. So, those are good machines. So if you invest in some good machines and things like that, I think you'll be okay. The septic issue is not really a big deal. There's no more wear and tear on the septic doing laundry than it is all the other fluids that are being shoved into the septic. So we haven't found anything.
But if you're doing the quantity of a commercial.
Yeah, but you're not really. It's not like you're not doing everyone else's laundry too. I mean, you're just doing your laundry. So it's not.
Wait, no.
I'm going to disagree, Kyle. I think you have to know what your septic system can handle, because they're all created differently.
Yeah.
So they have to be
ours flow into some huge fields, right? It's not like ours aren't small around here, and I think we have 8. So it wouldn't put anything else, no more damage on the septic than everything else is being damaged on. You got to remember that these septic fields also have plenty of time. I don't know how much winter business she does, but these septic fields have plenty of time in the winter to saturate and have all the fluids get soaked down. I mean, most of our bottoms here are all sand gravel bottoms. So most of the fluids are being absorbed very, very quickly. That's from my experience with the septics. But I mean, if your septic system, if it's a little bit sketchy, I'd have it looked at before you start putting 15, 20 extra loads of laundry through it.
Good question.
Okay. Last one on cleaning supplies has to do with supplies alone. So I don't know if we're going to be able to address this today, but maybe we could figure out a good time, like Jennifer suggested, maybe more of a school resorting where we actually go over the physical supplies versus this is who I get my supplies from, because everyone uses a different wood cleaner, oven cleaner. I don't use oven cleaner. I only use natural stuff. I don't want to hear from the herbs that you spread on stuff. And we can do that during a school resorting where you got tricks and traits of getting out different stains out of things. Let's shift it, because we're also during this time, we're all looking for staffing stuff. So let's look at some of the questions here. Let's see. How to teach employees, especially teenagers, to stay on task and on top of the tasks that they're trying to accomplish for the day. Make a TikTok for them.
The hard
Just
one.
TikTok it. Just TikTok it.
Actually,
Go sweep.
We've recorded before. So, well, I actually did this for myself. Jennifer, I think, wouldn't let me record her making a bed, but so I could go back and review it. But I think it's important to remember every person is so different. So to lump all teens into one, like I can have an amazing teen that is on task. And then I can also have, so I think it's important to remember everyone has different learning styles, different work ethics.
We all have different learning styles, just us in general. And then all of us have different teaching styles as well. So some of us are better at it than others. And you should make a TikTok about it.
That is one thing I have done where I just did not think I was getting through to someone. I had someone else do the training again, just so there was a different voice, different person. There was this one teenager I have, and she's great, but she likes to drive the golf cart around more than stay in the bedrooms. And that was really hard for me to watch. And so then I put her on training her friend, who was also a bed maker. And I'm like, you are now responsible for her and teaching her. And that kept her on task way better than her just like doing her own bed. She was now teaching someone else, even though she was new too. You know what I mean? Like giving her some more responsibility. Yeah.
So I do know the previous owners of Half Moon Trail, which would be Ryan and Liz, so Ryan's parents. Anyway, they would, I think they would have a whole bunch of staff out for dinner maybe, and they would all watch a video together, and the video was speed cleaning. And then I think every employee was required to maybe, required to read the book, because there's a speed cleaning book that you can buy. And did it train them and keep them on task? I have absolutely no idea. But I think it was a really good way to just show all of their staff at the same time, this is what I expect. you know, here's a good way to go about it. We've got a short amount of time to get a lot of cabins turned over. And these tips and tricks are going to help us do a good job and get it done fast. So I highly recommend that book, Speed Cleaning. The whole thing won't be applicable to a resort, but you're going to get a lot of good information out of it.
The checklist that you guys are talking about in the chat is a great idea, especially for us visual learners. Going in there and physically knocking off a box is exactly what some of us need. So you guys I like that it's laminated, check off when it's done with their initials and responsibility. That way also you have your own thing. You go back in and, you know, dust off something and you're like, Janice, you said that you cleaned this, but clearly you didn't clean this. So that's a great idea, Tracy. Thank you.
When we bought our resort, we had inherited some great cleaners, but they're elderly. And they were teaching me. So that was how ours rolled. But since then, I have made a checklist to train other people, but we don't carry it around with us each week. But
ours are taped to the totes that we deliver to the cabins. They're
good
taped
idea.
on the top things. So they know when they're putting all the other stuff back in, whether it's the laundry bags or whatever, it's just sitting right there in front of them. So they can't say that they didn't see it because it's there.
So my checklist never worked. And I would even, the checklists were in the order of, you know, how to do things, do this first, then do this, you know, never worked. I don't know why.
I put a copy, so I just made it into 2 columns on a 8.5 by 11 sheet. And so I can print it and cut it in half and put one in each cabin, and they can't move on to the next cabin until they've checked it off. So it's physically there, and it just means printing off 4 sheets a week, and it's not a big deal. So I do think it helps. I'm really struggling with a couple things, like, okay, when people are friends and so they work together because they're friends, but they're young teens, it's hard to keep them on task that way. So then I think, should I break them up so they have to work with someone who's not their friend? Should I make them leave their phones in the office? So if people have any experience with, you know, forbidding phones versus letting them have the phones, they want to play music on them. And so I kind of want to let them have the phones. But yeah, so Casey, you're saying separate crews has been your experience. So I'll shut up and see what other people say.
We make it mandatory that they have their phones with them. They live off their phones anyway. That checklist is not only on the tote, but they've been sent a picture and copy of the checklist. We need to be able to reach them. They need to be able to reach us. I don't want them hopping on a golf cart and searching around for us on the property. The properties are too big. So plus that's just a waste of time. So when they have an issue, hey, there's a little water under the sink, or hey, I'm missing a sheet or a towel or a rug or whatever, you know, they have everyone's cell phone numbers, and they just start texting off so they can keep on task, keep doing the cleaning. We have very limited time, and then we can pop in, fix whatever we need to fix, and get the heck out of there. So we actually require them to have their cell phone. It's one of the things that we want them to have. So you're always going to run into them texting and doing something else on you know, other time, but most of the ones who actually show up are pretty good about it.
The thing that set me off on this question is last summer I had one cleaner who was just too immature, and I should have just let her go earlier, but she would spend her time making TikTok videos instead of cleaning. And so I had to continually be going to the cabin where she was to say, you know what, you're supposed to be working. And so, yeah, that just soured me on the phone thing, but you're right.
Were they good enough videos that you can use them to promote your resort?
I actually now know that I'm on TikTok, which I never thought I would be in my life.
How many views do you have? That's awesome.
Probably
That's a
like
great
2.
social media platform for you.
That's right. I'm dancing even.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You know, one other quick tip. So I had some high schoolers and they were just horrible. I thought, oh my gosh, but I couldn't let them go because they were warm body and, you know, I felt like they were trying, but they really weren't trying very hard. And finally I figured out, because I was always the checker. I didn't clean. I would just make sure everybody did a good job. So I was the last one out of the cabin. So finally I figured out I needed to show them what I do when I check. You know, so I said, I walk through the door and I systematically go around clockwise and I check absolutely everything. I'm lifting the toilet seat. I'm running my hand along here. I'm running my hand through the sink. I'm checking the bottom of the shower curtain. You know, then I'm going to the beds and I'm making sure that they're straight. And then I'm going in, you know, and I'm running my hand inside the oven and I'm opening up the freezer and I'm running my hand under the refrigerator to see if you got the broom all the way under, you know, just those kinds of things. And that was a real eye opener for them. And I think they did a better job from that point on because they knew I was basically touching every surface that they were supposed to be cleaning. So I would recommend that, especially with the younger kids, you know.
Yeah, that's something I think is helpful too, learning it kind of backwards, what you're all going to see. If there's any extra time in a day, like one team is done before the other, I will have, like, especially the younger kids that are maybe done with the bedrooms or something like that, go check each other's work. And I still, you know, find stuff and straighten things out, but I feel like they do have a different eye then. They're seeing things, you know, zoomed out a little bit. So I think that's good.
So Tracy just wrote in the message that says, when the cleaners are not doing well or having a bad week, Mike cleans with them. No one wants Mike to clean with them. So I agree. And that was actually my point. When they see you cleaning, I know it sucks. But when you jump in and clean and they see that you are cleaning at a different level that they're cleaning and you are cleaning at a different pace that they're cleaning, things tend to adjust very quickly because they know that, you know, on a Saturday, if I can rip through a bunch of 2-bedroom cabins in about 45 for 50 minutes, and they're taking 90 and my job is cleaner than theirs, it's a problem. So they know that we've jumped in, they know that we've cleaned, so they understand that we're not going to tolerate certain things.
Yeah, and
Perfect.
Casey's comment too is pretty good. You know, one thing about part-time seasonal staff is they're not going to be the best. I mean,
no.
Yeah, so you just have to be accepting of some things, I suppose.
That goes for adults and kids. Oh, Casey. All right. Another staffing question. How do you manage the employing of a parent or a friend?
Sorry, can you ask that again?
So how do you manage the staff being your parents or a friend?
That is my whole staff.
Yeah, but it's not easy.
They're either my parents or I'm their parents. Yeah.
Right.
I love my mom, but we have a really hard time working together. And she did have to sub for me last year, one Saturday, and I put her on a team. I have managers on each team that are in charge of the team. And I had that, like, she needed to work with the manager. I knew I was not going to be the one that could train her or anything like that. So I really relied on my manager. And kind of back to the phones, we make sure that typically the manager, the lead on the team, we call them, is the person texting us running around. So like if someone has an issue, they tell their lead, who will either solve it or give them direction, and then they'll text us if they need something. So it's not like we're getting 20 texts and from various people. It's like each lead, we know what the team needs. But that's a good question. I don't know. It's hard.
Okay, this is not helpful, but my mom's 88 and I can't stop her from helping us clean. and she's amazing. I mean, she and my dad, who's 92, make beds together still when we're in a bind. But that's not a really sustainable work staffing plan. So I would love to find people
Hit
like
those
them.
nursing homes. Hit those nursing homes, boys and girls. Here we go.
I know. So I need to find people like them who are 50 years younger.
Okay. There's another staffing question here. It says, what kind of arrangements have people made to hire help that either lives on site or is available for evening or emergencies, such as storm and cleanup issues? It says, alternatively, we have experienced people that can help, that can become maybe an assistant manager, says question mark. After this coming summer, I'll be running the resort on my own, and I need to figure out for more help, just as daily dock people.
And I'm the one who submitted that question because I'm turning 60 this year, and I don't think I can do everything on our resort. 24 hours a day, I can get people who come during the day. But what do I do if a big storm blows in? And they always blow in at night, right? So, if anyone has any suggestions for ways to get kind of, deep, reliable extra time people, I'd love to hear it.
Do you have any campsites?
Could you put one in?
Oh boy. I've never looked into all the regulations and everything for that. It would have, that's a good question.
Because then you could do those work campers or the other site that Jennifer had suggested. And then the people are literally on site.
Mm-hmm.
And what you do is you trade them hours of work for the site fee, and then there's additional hours that are paid at a reasonable rate beyond that. And then that they're there because they live there.
And have people had a pretty easy time finding good people? Where do you advertise and how do you find them?
There's an entire website dedicated to work campers.
We had a storm our first year. Was it our first year, Gary? Yeah, our first year, that knocked a tree onto a cabin, actually. And our guests were like, we're here, we're helping you clean this mess up. And our neighbors were coming over to help us before they were doing their own. And it was amazing. So.
Well, you're gonna see my face for a second, because I got a story about that too. 23 years ago, on my biggest cabins, storm came through, power was out. The storm filled up the septic tank. It backed up into the basement of the cabin. Like 10 o'clock that morning, we're running around, cutting down trees, we're fixing roads, we're doing all this shit. And one of the Rossi kids comes to me at the beaches. I'm picking a boat up off the bottom of the lake and is asking for a mop. I'm like, yeah, sure, you can have a mop. What do you need a mop for? And then he goes into telling me how the family has spent the last 5 hours trying to clean up the mess because they didn't want to bother me on this horrendous day. You find a guest like that, I do favors for them all the damn time. You want the big fancy pontoons? Joe, it's all yours.
Yep. Last year when we had a storm break down, 80-mile-an-hour straight winds, and it brought trees down on 2 different cabins, but the whole resort was filled with a family that's been coming since 1949. And they were all out helping us with the chainsaws and cleaning up, and including the 92-year-old grandma was raking. So yeah, I totally, that's great. But that's 1 week out of the summer. So I need to figure out someone else to help me out.
Yeah, I will tell you there's a benefit of having those seasonal campers. We got 46 of them, and then just come down out of their campers and start chopping wood, hauling wood, carrying stuff. They help out all the time. So they are a pain in the ass a lot of the time, but they are helpful when it really comes down to it. So I sent that link in the chat there. It's just workcamper.com, and they have employment, and you can post a job, and then just random people will start applying if they want to spend the summer or whatever you have to do. So but you'll have to look into whether you can have a campsite or not.
Any tips on what to look for if I start interviewing people?
No, I haven't found a good match for what we're looking for here. We're obviously looking for a husband and wife team, cleaning on Saturdays, groundskeeping the rest of the day. Most of the people that we've kind of run into are more retirees. So we're looking for someone who can actually do a little more work than that. I don't need somebody to go around on a lawnmower and cut grass. I can do that on my own. I need someone who can do some actual work. So we haven't found a good match, but we only post it for a small period of time, and then we pull it back off again and just build and then rent the site for the year and save myself the $4,000. So
our neighbors who used to own the resort next to us, they do that. They just travel around and work at, or used to anyway. I don't know if they still are, used to work at random campgrounds. So they're retired, but they're used to the resort world. And then we also had one of our staffers do the same thing. He went down to Florida and worked at someone's farm for, just a short period, 4 months or something like that. So yeah, I think it just depends on the personalities, maybe.
yeah, 100%. And you could find one and it'll totally click and you'll be great. I think it'll be perfect. I will tell you that we had one that's like, oh, I used to own a resort. Yeah, I'm not into that person. Why? Because it'll be like, well, we used to, and in my resort, we would have
on it.
Pass.
Sure. Nice. I'll have to look up what our old staffer and friend did. I don't think it was either one of those programs mentioned. I'll text him.
Jennifer put the link of Workaway as well in there, so that's another site in there. And then and Tracy put in that just keep working those damn kids to death. Just use your own staff. Keep producing your own children. Produce your own staff. There you go.
I'm done.
And then have them get all their students. No.
That's what my
she's got kids that work there, and she says a student wants to go work hard. Let them call. Work too hard. Perfect. That one's good. Build a relationship with the student counselors at the local schools. So that's good. Cleaning crew generous for more than a year. They come back the next summer. This is our 5th summer, and they had a good following. So, I mean, if you can get with the local school counselors, I mean, they can at least point you in the directions of the let's say more qualified kids, or the kids that have the better work ethics. They know the students a lot better. So at least. Okay, so let's switch a little bit to some of the groundskeeping stuff. So let's go into pest control. Okay, what fun pest control stories do you have from last season? How do you deal with bat infestation, skunk, mice, carpenter ants, spiders?
We had a raccoon that took up residency under one of our cabins and had babies. And so we just had to call a guy in Bemidji, was it? Bemidji animal guy, I don't know. Gary's gonna look him up. And he had to come out there, and he came out there and he put cameras where he thought the critter was getting in. And eventually got a picture of the raccoon, and it happened to be just one. So he said, okay, it's probably a mama with babies then. And so we couldn't do anything until, I guess he did try to trap her, and then rolled the trap a bunch of times to try and scare her to move her babies out. Didn't work. She stayed in there for another week or so. And so he still had the cameras under there. And as soon as he saw the pictures of her moving her babies out, he came back in and fixed up the hole of where she got in. So just Tony Kennedy out of Bemidji. What is he called though? Oh, some kind of, yeah, pest control. He didn't look up that thing. So that's what they did there. And then my husband did your your mouse traps. He built mouse traps that we learned at your resort last year. So.
Yeah. So if anyone doesn't know what those are, we used a 4-inch PVC pipe. It's roughly, I don't know, 16 inches long or so, 2 caps on the side. You drill 1-inch holes on the outsides of them and you fill them with bait block. So we use 4 or 5 different chunks of the bait block. Mice come in, they eat it, they run out, and they go try to find water because it makes them really thirsty, and they die outside of the cabins. So those have been very helpful for us. There's 3 of them on each of the cabins, 4 of them on any of the buildings. They're all simple, easy to make, and it gets rid of. We haven't had a mice issue since. Now, flying squirrels we have a problem with, but not mice.
Speaking of squirrels, I have a red squirrel that made its way into one of our cabins and chewed or busted or something holes in the ceiling. So I have piles of insulation to go clean up and ceiling to patch now. We believe that the red squirrel is out of there. We've named him Capone. He seems to run the resort for us. But yeah, anybody have any suggestions on repairing the ceiling without redoing the whole ceiling? It's the 12-inch like tongue and groove tile type idea.
I'm not the person to answer this. I wish I was. Put it on the group chat or something. Maybe.
Will do. I'll go get some fresh pictures and share.
Yeah. Oh, just at least so we can commiserate with you.
Excellent. Question regarding the bait trap. If you're poisoning the mice, have you found a decline in some of the other owls and other things that are eating the mice though?
No, it's such low. The mice need such very little of that to kill it versus what needs to kill them owl. So we haven't had anything else that was been dead that's eaten the mice, and then nothing else can get in the hole. So it keeps dogs out. The red squirrels can get in, mice. We don't have any rats, but rats, anything that could stick it in the 1-inch hole, then it's fine. It'll die. Everything else can't really get in it. Kids can't get in it. Well, stupid ones can, but I mean, what are you going to do? Okay, another groundskeeper question. It says, what do you do for the leaf removal in the fall and cleanup in the spring? Do you fertilize? How have you handled poison ivy, stinging needles? What has worked? And what is the best change you've made to maintain the grounds?
So from a landscaper's perspective, you're next to a lake. Don't fertilize your lake, people. Don't add phosphorus into your lake. Your grounds really shouldn't need fertilization. If you leave a light layer of leaf litter, that is your essential compost that goes in there. So don't feel like you have to be OCD on the leaves and get them all. Just get the really heavy buildup that would be suffocating your grass. Otherwise, it's adding its own compost. So
we ran into a problem with leaving the leaves on. Our dog got blasto.
Ooh.
And she almost died. So, and I will tell you that that's very myetosis. It's a fungus that grows on the underneath part of the leaves. And because they're so low to the ground in the springtime, she inhaled it, and it's a lung infection.
Ugh.
So I guess most dogs like die within a week of it. She's fine now. They got her on meds. She's okay. She lost a bunch of her fur and all kinds of other stuff. So I will tell you that I am not leaving any more leaves out there. They get chopped up as many times as possible, and then anything that doesn't get chopped up gets blown and burned. So just an FYI for those of you guys with pets.
It's another good thing to look at. Yeah. The more leaf litter, though, the more bumblebees, the more lightning bugs, and all of those other things. So there's always a give and take, but certainly if there's some type of fungus and stuff, just knowing where your pets are and where they're going to is always a huge thing. Again, my dog's little. Your dogs are big and probably all over the place.
Yeah, we can leave some stuff towards the back and help grow a lot of that stuff. But how do you guys handle the poison ivy? We have poison ivy and poison oak all over the place. What's the best way to deal with that?
We haven't done a whole lot with it here so far because it's not prevalent on the main grounds, but we used to have a farm, and the only way I found to get rid of it is to dig it up by the root. Because it's all just, it just grows to the next one.
I don't want to tell you guys what I do with my poison oak.
But yeah, we had the same thing we don't have any poison ivy on the main part of the resort, but I discovered some on a bank a couple years ago, and the roots just travel every which way underground. But if you can loosen the soil well enough with a garden fork, you can really just lift a whole bunch of it up, wearing, full body armor, and burn it.
Burning's not so great for those that are allergic to it, because they say you can still get it from really? That.
Wow.
But, yeah, I don't even remember how they said to dispose it. Put it in a bag to kill it.
Okay.
But
so you can companion plant some jewelweed, which is also an antidote to poison ivy. So if you get poison ivy on you, you take the jewelweed and then you rub that on it instead, and it's supposed to counteract it.
The jewelweed that you're talking about, is that like the stuff that grows by the lake? I've got plenty of that.
Nice. I love this.
Hey, what have you guys changed about, your landscaping or your maintenance of your lawns, or what will you never do again? Or, we got a crap ton of trees and stuff to weed whip all around. Do you do something do you wood chip around the trees so you don't have to weed whip? We can weed whip for 3 days straight and not get it all done. So how do you guys kill that time?
I prefer the natural look. Let the grass grow by the tree.
We started putting in some more of those, I don't know, what do you call them, not ditch lilies, those daylilies that just grow, because the deer don't seem to eat them as much, but deer are our biggest landscaping problem now. We used to have lovely hostas and stuff everywhere, and that's just salad.
Yeah, ours is clover. We have clover and hostas all over the place. So we got herds.
I've overseeded a lot with clover and the self-heal and some of the thyme, which is just overall a little bit lower growing, slower growing type thing. It's bee friendly. Pollinator stuff. Again, there's the landscape side of me trying to find all these wonderful ways to help do more native things. I'm starting a native meadow in another area so I don't have to mow it. And then we can have more pretty flowers for everybody to look at. I do very little landscaping around the cabins themselves, except for rehoming plants that I'm finding on the site and moving them over to help do some more water erosion berms and creating some other ways that shady plants can come in around the cabins. Finding deer resistant plants good luck, because anytime a deer is hungry, it will taste the plant, whether it was something it was actually going to eat or not. So that's going to be something always a challenge, but certainly by having more vegetation gives them more opportunities to not decimate something, and finding other plants other than hosta. Hostas are a great salad bar for deer. Everybody loves baby spinach. Well, deer love hosta because they're typically like baby spinach to them.
Kelly and or Dan wrote in the thing, motion activated sprinklers work great to keep deer away from the landscaping and planted areas. I don't know whether that's Kelly or Dan, but that's a great idea.
Well, I'm just trying to think, it wouldn't it also like surprise certain guests, but
I would hope so. Get a camera out there too.
We had our second year here, we had some ladies come in. There were some kind of shoreland advisors in our area, Kayla, that came in because our previous owners cut down so many trees, and we have guests that say, plant more trees, and I want more trees. And they also weed whipped the shoreline, and we have a big shoreline front. And I'm like, no, I want this more natural, you know, and so they came in and gave us a big review and printed it all up of the things that we should do. However, it's hard to find the time to do those things. So, but yeah, we're working on more natural around the area.
Before my time, Jennifer could speak more to this, but they got a grant for native landscaping along the shoreline.
She jumped off.
Yeah. But when we took over, it was not a lot of it was overtaken. And so we've done a lot of work to clean it up and replant native and add more. We've done a lot of landscaping since we've been here, and I've just like completely fallen in love with it. I'd love to talk to you, Deanna, more, or have you host. Actually, I was thinking I should pay you for your services to come out here
in her free time.
But the thing is we are so shady because we have so many trees, which I love that we have so many trees, but it definitely becomes a challenge to find shady, deer repellent and native. Yeah. But we're working on it. Every new spot, I'm like, oh, let's fill that. Let's fill that. But I like the natural. I'm a mix. I like natural in some places, and other places I like to, I don't know. I like where it's clean too. So I like a good mix.
So let's jump off of this one real quick. In the message, Tracy asked, do you feed your team members when they work? If yes, any good recipes you can share? I make lots of hot dish, tacos, pasta, salad stuff once a month. I think it's supposed to be offer pastas once a month. I do off the team order what they want from a local restaurant to help small business owners. Kelly and Dan, they make lunch for the employees, whoever's working and cleaning for the week. It's a nice little free bonus, she says. Eat all together. No one has to worry about warming things up.
I get anxious
do meals.
eating my own kids on a regular basis, so I definitely don't do that. But I have added a big snack bin. So I have all types of snacks that anyone would like. And at any point, I say, if you guys need to go grab a snack, or I can run and get you something. And then usually one of our last Saturdays all together, then we'll do a big meal at the end of the day, and I'll order takeout and sit outside on the picnic tables together. But otherwise, we don't have time to sit. I feel so bad. Get a lunch break. I mean, they get breaks, but
yeah, they get snacks and stuff. We do an end of the year meal. We do like a big thing at the fall, a big thank you kind of dinner, but that's not on a cleaning day. But I mean, maybe maybe it would help. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that question.
We didn't have any breaks before I got on, and I was like, I need a break. I need to eat. So we are adding, everyone needs to go take a break. Yeah.
Nobody can clean well if you're too busy having low sugars or being hangry or being hangry or being hangry.
Yes, 100%. Yep.
Okay, back to some groundskeeping stuff. How much time do you spend removing aqua plants? I'm guessing from swim areas or harbors is what I'm guessing what they're talking about. How do you remove them? Hand, rake, chemical? What do you use?
Again, we're new. We just had one full summer, but we found out that my husband really enjoys his Zen garden called the beach and the swim area. And he's out there every week doing some sort of raking, just because manual removal is going to be most effective. We did recently talk to Dana Gutzman, who is the AIS person for Cass County. And she was even saying that a lot of chemicals you can put in the lake, but it's not going to fix everything. And you're still going to have to do some other manual removal. So for that reason, I just skip all the chemicals and go straight to just doing some more manual cleaning of those areas to maintain the spaces that you're allowed to maintain. It's not like we're trying to clean the whole lake. We're just trying to make sure that the swim area and where the boats are going in and out can do so. So that way you don't have to, you know, replace a whole prop or anything like that. We have quite a bit of wild rice on our end as well. So just making sure that the boats can go in and out is pretty important.
We hire a guy to come in, and he's not cheap. We have a DNR permit. We had the DNRs come out here to permit our area that we can clean, and we have him set up for the spring already. He comes in and has like a landscape rake that he pulls behind his truck. He floats it up there and drops it and rakes it up, and then my husband cleans it up with the tractor and hauls it away. So I don't have his name right in front of me, but his last name is Sandquist. He's got relatives in the area. I know that.
We've had to clean up our harbor a couple of times, but we've just done it by hand and it sucks. And there's nothing else you can do about it. Most of those chemical things that you talk about, even when DNR approves certain chemical, they don't. There's so many different kinds. It'll kill one of the weeds, but it won't kill the other 3 or 4. There's so many different kinds. It's just not helpful, unfortunately. And some of that stuff's expensive. Plus permits, plus hoops to jump through. It's probably not worth your time and effort. We have one of those big Y cutters. It looks just like this, and it's got a pole on it, and you throw it out, and it's got a string, and you just pull it along the bottom, and it cuts them, and they float up, and then you bring it all to shore, and you pick it up with the skid steer or the back of a truck or whatever, and go dump it.
We hired a guy our first year who did it by hand, and I was out there helping him. And what you do is you take one of those big old black sleds like somebody would pull behind their snowmobile in the winter, loaded with wood or whatever, and he floats that out there, and then when he's out there dragging with his rake, he scoops it into the sled, pulls it to shore, emptied it into the tractor bucket, and it was a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work,
but the guests have noticed it and love it. So
this is my husband's area, but he does it or with someone that we hire. I'm trying to find a picture of it. It's like a rolling rake. It's a rake on, yeah, you guys already know. So we do it by hand. I'll try to find it.
I'll find my guy here.
Just got it at ice.
No. He's northern.
We have 3 different types of rakes that we put out there. One of them is the rolling rake. One of them is just a regular hard garden rake. And then there's another one that's more like a scythe type weed whacker that he uses as well. And then there's also the little aqua jets that you can put off the edge of the dock as well. You got to be careful with those because you can't move too much water, and the DNR is iffy. They say they allow them and then they say they don't, but sometimes it can help with the post cleanup of all the little weed stuff to help you clean up your cleaning up.
Oops. Shit. Shit, I lost my Zoom.
We're here. We can hear you.
Oops.
I bet you it just moved to the back page, Teresa. So
It is. I see it.
It's back there.
All right. If everyone is done with that kind of area, we're going to pivot again. We got a couple of marketing questions, so that's always good. Everyone's ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Says, where do you get most guest referrals from? What advertising strategies have been a waste of money?
Mm.
So most of my stuff's word of mouth, unfortunately, and fortunately. So it's good. Yeah. Well, it's unfortunate too, right? Because you got the same, I mean, friends and family. So if you piss off one, you've pissed off the group, right? So that's always the catch-22 there, right? Is that, you know,
what are you doing to piss them off?
Oh, many things.
Why?
No, you know, you help out one or the other, whether it's a small discount or you didn't charge them for a kid or whatever it happens to be, and then this new person comes in and you're like, well, you didn't charge them for this, this, and this, and not like, you know, pissed off, but people you've done favors for or helped out before in the past, or that you know who've been there for 4 or 5 years, and then the next person expects that same deal, even though it's not the same deal. So that's just what I mean by that. Waste of money is I don't want to. I don't know. This sounds bad. How about third-party Facebook groups promoting your resort? Is that the nice way to say that, Kayla?
Deanna says yes.
Casey,
Say more about
Casey turns on his video for that one.
I want to hear more about what you mean by that. I'm not sure I've run into this.
If there's Facebook groups who have audiences that make you pay for service to promote your own business. There are ones all over the place. I actually pay for a couple of them that I think help, and I don't pay a couple other ones that don't help. So if you're into what you want to be into for marketing and you need to build your own, you need to build your audience. Someone else's audience isn't your audience. And Casey can talk more about the marketing stuff because obviously he has way more than what I have, which is probably way more than a lot of other people have. But paying somebody to build your own audience when you can pay Facebook to build an audience or grow it organically is obviously the better way to go.
Yeah, and we're talking about building an audience. I'm actually going to use Diana for this. If you're into landscaping, which you are, you can build an audience around people that want to go to the lake, who are interested in watching you grow things all winter long and doing the planting in the spring and doing all that. Paying to list on somebody else's Facebook page just because they have, 100,000 followers. Okay. And I know the one we're all talking about. If it's a statewide thing, there's nobody on this page that can steal a guess from somebody else, realistically. Yesterday, I shared Kyle's logo contest to my Facebook page.
And I stole his logo contest.
Am I going to lose any guess to Kyle?
Yeah.
Totally different resorts, clientele, the whole nine.
Sure.
So that's a problem when you start talking about these, Facebook pages that are going to promote all 600 small resorts in the state of Minnesota. How? Realistically, they can't. So you get sucked down that rabbit hole of paying all these different people to do your work for you, take that amount of money and stuff it into pay-per-click ads on Facebook or Instagram or Google for that matter, you'll come out way ahead. My thing that I'll never do again is sports shows. And I'm going to use actually an example that Kyle gave me last year. Well, he didn't really give it to me, but he had mentioned what if it was going to be worthwhile going to a sports show. I mentioned, take the money you're going to pay at the sports show, give it to a fishing guide, since you're a fishing resort, go out on the lake for 2 or 3 days with a camera and take some good Facebook shots of reeling in walleyes. Because my experience with sports shows is a lot of folks going to them, that is the vacation for the weekend, okay? Or they're flying into something way up in Canada. They've got so much money that they're not coming to our little resorts, let's put it that way. You've had a hell of a time finding folks that were in that middle ground that could come to our places. So sports shows were just no good for me.
Yeah, so for an example on Facebook, last month I had 62,000 impressions on Facebook from organic. That's unpaid organic posts only. Just today, yesterday, last night, I did a paid one for more people to like the page and follow. But the rest of this is Facebook Lives once or twice a week for the Ice Road, the logo contest that we're doing. And then we did an Ice Road picture contest for a free season pass for next year that someone just won, which is nothing. I'm going to plow the road anyway. So it's giving someone a free pass to the road that I'm already going to plow for the other 175 people that come out through the road is nothing. So we had just about 62,000 impressions in a month. So, and that's doing not a lot of work. I mean, it is a lot of work, but it's not a lot of work at the same time. So
I think just to be clear, to back up a little bit, like no one is saying if you need help with marketing and growing your own Facebook audience like that, you can still hire. What they're talking about is using an already established business who is just paid to share your posts.
Correct.
That's very different than, like, I just hired someone to help with, I just redid our website. So our SEO is back to 0 because I switched platforms with Google completely. I have nothing for Google anymore. And I don't know and understand SEO as much as I wish I did. And I am definitely paying someone to help me just get started again. But that's very different than, so I just want to make that clear. There are people to help you post and create, beautiful images for you, and hiring all those services if that's not something that you feel comfortable doing.
I will share something that I'm currently working on. I don't know if this works or not. I read a quick article, and this lady charges corporate, large corporations somewhere between $150,000 and $300,000 a year for this technique. So what they do is they take whatever the topic is. So for instance, for resorts, I have planning a trip, area, boating, fishing, winter, fall, Leech Lake cabins, resort offerings, and I'm still looking for 3 others. And then what they do on those is they will take, so you need 12 of them, 1 for each month. Then they take those and drop them into Google, and Google will literally tell you what people are asking for those topics. So if you go into Google and you click it and it says frequently asked questions, if you open and close those tabs, more questions populate. And when you populate those questions there, you can then pick somewhere between 30 and 31 for each of the days. And you have a automatic post now for every day of the year. So I'm building this now. I'm going to throw it into an Excel spreadsheet, take all of the questions for 365 days, randomly sort those into an order, and then post on Facebook. And that will give me a post for every day of the week every day of the year. And then you go back and you automatically generate all your other ones, your Happy Thanksgiving, your Christmas, your New Year's, your whatever. So that's 2 posts for those days. And then you go back in and you go out to your days of the week you do stuff. Turtle races are on Wednesdays, bingo's on Thursdays, and you populate those for every single day of the season as well. And if you spend 2 days in the off season doing those automatic posts, you then no longer have to post anything for the rest of the year unless something crazy comes up or something exciting and you want to share it, which would actually be 3 posts for the day, not just 2 posts of the day. So this is what I'm building based off of her suggestions. I don't know if this works, but this is what I'm going to try for next year, so I don't have to come up with content. I know that's always a tricky subject sometimes. You're like, I don't have anything to post for the day. Here's a picture of my dog. You know, I'm trying to get away from that.
Wait, we shouldn't just keep reposting more snow this time of year? I don't get it. That's what I got going.
Ugh.
Pass.
I'm not good at keeping up, honestly.
It's hard, but it's not. It's simple, but it's difficult. Does that make sense? Is that the right way to say that?
Yep.
Okay, along these marketing strategies here, why don't we grab another one? Where do you promote openings?
Oh, socials, our socials existing.
So, CMR has a website that has the ability to post. Not anymore. Just kidding. Scratch that.
We're working on it. We're working on it. We used to have last minute openings on there, but internally people still share like, hey, I have an opening this week. You send us information. No, last minute openings is currently broken, but we're hoping to fix it soon.
We'll see.
We'll see. No promises.
I will tell you that this is a topic that's come up before, and don't treat your Facebook like it is a last minute openings. That's all that you post, or that's the only thing that you post. You will get, you will fill it, but they won't be the guests you want in there. That's the problem.
Yep. Where else do people have people used or continue using resorts and lodges? I haven't used them for a long time. Did anybody use VRBO, Airbnb, those kinds of things? What's been your reaction to those?
We use Airbnb for last minute. They're usually shorter stays. I stopped doing Verbo. I mentioned this on the last call just because managing too many calendars, I was not excited about doing.
My struggle with Airbnb, I like them. I started with them during COVID, and they were a hell of a lot better than VRBO or Verbo as they're trying to rebrand themselves.
I know. Why are they trying? Yes.
So, whatever. Anyway, but yeah, the calendar thing sucks. I think I have maybe 13 or 14 of my 19 cabins on the Airbnb, and I have to keep them all separate except for one, my little sleeping cottage for 2, because the rate never changes. And unfortunately, when I've got a reservation software system that will sync to a platform like Airbnb or VRBO, but unfortunately it won't keep track of, I have different rates for, different, if a different special with a free night in May, and I've got my summer rate, and then I've got my off-season rate, and then I've got a couples rate, and then I've got a group rate, and the syncing doesn't work. So it sucks to have to keep up with those calendars. In fact, I was just doing it yesterday. It took me all freaking day just to update the calendars on there. So it's frustrating. I don't know if anybody else has had good luck with Airbnb or maybe VRBO or resorts and lodges, or maybe their own local chamber has an availability calendar that you guys use. What's your best filler of, I think it's a good question. how do you best fill last minute opening? What's been your best luck?
We've stopped doing that. We've had bad luck.
With which
in
one?
the last with any of the last minute openings, we just don't fill it. If we've actually had better luck leaving the cabin open, not having to clean the cabin, not having to turn it over, versus taking the revenue. We've had bad reviews from people who show up last minute and they didn't know that they were supposed to pay for extra people because they planned poorly. We've had too many people in a cabin and we've told them that they can't stay. You know, they bring 10 people for a 2-bedroom because they're just going to try to pack it in at this last minute. We've run into like 3 scenarios, so we don't. I mean, we try to maybe fill it up until 2 weeks ahead of time. And if not, we just call our family and friends and say, hey, listen, we've had something pop up. No one's bailed. Do you guys want to come up? And they'll float us some cash or whatever, clean the cabin themselves and just be done with it. It's because our last minute stuff is not paid off. I don't want to leave holes, but I'd rather leave it empty than deal with bad press or bad people. Just, I'm already done with it and I'm only 5 years in.
I do love when even if we fill in a short stay, but there is an extra day to clean it before Saturday. Gosh, getting one cabin done ahead of time, I feel like is everything, makes a Saturday amazing. Makes a difference.
I have a lot of last minute openings usually, but I do have, I keep a wait list of guests who have made inquiries in January and February and March. And sometimes it's worth contacting them personally. Sometimes they'll actually come up, but that's people, that's not the problem that Kyle's talking about. Those are people I know they'll be great. The Otter Tail Lakes Country Association is promoting the county as a whole as a great place to live. And they're pretty responsible about how they promote things, but I don't use the chambers of commerce anymore.
Oh.
Well, yeah, that's a long story. I won't go into that.
Kim, I feel like you're really good about using the chamber. I always see you on there and I'm like, I have it on my to-do list constantly and I never add it.
So I use that hot deals feature.
Yeah.
But I think maybe over the years I might have gotten one booking from that. So I just kind of put the deals out there because it's a free feature as part of my membership, but it really doesn't get me anywhere. I was kind of pissy about, so when Explore Minnesota Tourism changed their website, one of the many times that they've done so, but the last time, in fact, I don't know if you guys struggle with using the Explore Minnesota Tourism website, but it's so big and there's lots and lots of stories, you know, and to try to find, so it used to have, I'm lamenting this, but maybe there's a way to do this that you guys have found that I'm just beyond me. But there used to be a way where if you go on the homepage, it used to have a map. You can click the region and then click lodging, and just the list of all the lodging in that area, whether it's Northwest or North Central, is just listed. And you could, filter it by alphabetical order. So I could then look at my listing and then check to see if everything was updated. Well, now I have no idea where to find my listing ever. I mean, I'm sure I'm listed on there somewhere. I just don't know where to find it. Do you? I mean, am I just being an idiot here, or can somebody help me figure out where to look at my listing on there?
Gosh, I haven't I need to do that this winter still. I haven't looked since last year. So it's a good reminder. I'll follow up with you on mine.
Or maybe we should invite an Explore Minnesota tourism person to come speak at one of our spring workshops or fall conferences and just walk us all through how to make sure that your listing is correct and what would they recommend us doing to market our own resort better on their big platform.
Yeah. Gosh, I'm trying to remember, didn't they send out access your listing? Okay, have you done that? Access your listing?
Not lately.
I'll send the link on here and then But yeah, I think we are sending an invite. We booked it pretty solid already for this conference, but we are inviting Explore Minnesota to attend just because we're trying to rebuild that relationship. Lots have changed in the past couple of years, we're finding.
Yep. Dave would always speak for maybe 15 minutes at our spring workshop, but then he would never miss one of those because he had, like you said, built a relationship up with us. So
yeah.
Anyway, well,
Okay.
I for one would be curious about that someday. If somebody could find me some clarity around the Explore Minnesota tourism, if there's a way for us to help utilize that for our own resort, that would be great.
I just posted the link where it has a spot to access your listing.
Yeah.
It looks like I had saved my information in it, but it says I don't have the right credentials, so I'd have to do some digging more, but that's a great idea to even a first step to help building that relationship again with the new people there. I know Nicole is still there, and she's the one who's went through the website, not last fall conference, but the one before, after.
They always point out something or other. John Inman always did anyway, pointing out new commercials they've thrown out there, yada, yada. But I'm just more interested in how it directly relates to each of us as resorters. How do we put more beds and heads and beds and on our end? Because they're supposed to be helping us. You know, that's their job, is to help improve tourism across the state. And their website is their main vehicle for doing that. It used to be they had also a hot deals or some kind of deals feature, which I always paid for, and I could do like a couple special and a romance and a family fun, and now they don't have that anymore. So I was really bummed when they took that away. So I don't know if there's other avenues for us to utilize their website as resorters to try to get stuff in. So anyway, moving on.
I just reset my password, so I was able to go in, and it does. I guess I could show my. Do you guys want
share your screen, Kayla?
Okay. Let's see, dashboard. Okay, can you see?
Yes.
So yeah, it does show you your page views. Like I said, I have not looked at this for a year now. So I think I updated my pictures last year.
So how would a guest go about finding you on there? I mean, I had a heck of a time. Wow.
Sure, from the front end.
Just as a guest, you know, if I went to their website. So again, maybe I don't want to take up too much time here with this. Other people probably have more burning issues, but I, for one, would be very interested in hearing what they would say about that, and trying to get us to market better using them.
I feel like it's under plan your trip. Yeah, but it's probably not. There's a resorts link. Did you see that?
I did.
Yeah, but I haven't gone further. So I see what you're saying. It's not as easy.
Nope. And Expedia, has anybody used Expedia or hotels.com, those kinds of partners? Nope. Okay.
We talked a little bit, what day was that last week? In Coles Resort, I know they use Expedia.
I did. Also another thing where the calendars are hard to keep track of.
Yeah.
So I always got a lot of squirrely people from there. I mean, these are people who are Googling, typically moving through your area. They're like, I need to find a hotel. And then your resort pops up and you kind of get these strange or odd people, which is not ideal. Mostly what I used it for was off-season couples rates. So in May and September to fill in a little bit. So I decided it wasn't worth it after a while when there's too many calendars. Now that I started using Airbnb and had 14 to start keeping track of. So it got a little bit overwhelming. I do have the ability to link it though, sync it. So Cloudbeds is what I use for that. So.
Oh, sure.
Anyway.
Dan and Kelly have asked a couple times about Cloudbeds. If they're still.
What is everybody using for reservation software? Maybe we should just say that. I miss reservation.
I'm on ResStream. We're switching to Resort Forward.
Oh.
I met with the Cloudsbed guys. I had a couple of meetings with Cloudbeds.
Yep.
It's not, it's for hotels. I wouldn't recommend that at all.
So I'm using
it's based off of rooms, and he was selling me on once the rooms start to fill up or the cabins start to fill up, then the rates change and fluctuate. And I was like, well, we don't do that because our rates are our rates. And he's like, no, but you can. And I was like, yeah, but we don't. Like, we don't.
I think no matter,
just because I got one cabin left doesn't mean I want to charge more.
Right. I think they were set up. I think you're right. They were set up for a lot of hostels, a lot of places where they have the same exact kind of rooms. So we had to set ours up for each individual cabin to make it make sense. So, and it does. It's working fine. There's always some challenges, I think, with every reservation software. So
100%.
I can make online bookings. I like people can do that. I like the possibility of the syncing with the Expedia and the Airbnb, but when it came to actual, game time, it didn't work as well as I was hoping that it did. So, and I lost a ton of notes so I still have my old reservation master. So just the other day, I send out a newsletter every January or February. Do you guys send out newsletters, like an annual newsletter as a marketing kind of a thing? No?
We send out one once a month.
Once a month? Wow.
Every month.
Good for you.
That
it's terrible.
Is impressive.
Every month. Terrible. I hate writing. Once a month. Somewhere between the first and the fifth. Emailed.
Emails, huh?
Emailed. We use not Survey Monkey. What's the other?
Yeah, there's another one.
MailChimp. I knew it was a monkey of some kind.
So you must think it's worth it if you continue doing it.
I will tell you that it is very strange feeling that you set up for an email to go out. Mm-hmm. It gets sent the next morning, and the next 2 days your phone doesn't stop ringing.
So
it does work. It reminds people, and then we have random emails that gets, people can just sign up for it. And I know they go to other resorters, and I know they go to other people, but that's how we promote when there's big changes happening or small changes. You just kind of compile all of your social media posts for the month and say, hey, this is what happened on the resort. Don't forget to follow us on social if you want quicker stuff, but here's last minute openings. We just added 2 more pontoon boats. Reminder, we got 5 jet skis, so on and so forth. And it's stupid, but people like to be informed all the time.
They do.
I hate it.
I think that's a great idea. I would love to do that. I'm impressed that you're doing that. Actually, I would love to do that. I do a written one every year. I did for a while go to email to try to save myself money. But what I found, we've got about, 2,300 names in our database right now. So it's a big number. But I figure what I was noticing is that the email was getting to maybe whoever I had on the email contact list. Whereas the piece of mail, when I mail it out, it gets read and it gets passed around to other people in the family. So everybody gets to read it if they want to. So I kind of went back to the snail mail thing, and I have no regrets about that. And you're right, after the email or the mailing goes out, I get a ton of, because you don't have to resell your resort to somebody who's already been there. They're great. You don't have to resell them. You just have to remind them that, hey, we're up here.
Yeah, I'll do a quick share. Where's share?
I forget. Kayla's
your
more
screen.
savvy.
I got it.
Okay.
So here's all of our MailChimp stuff every month, and they get one of these sent to them every month. Hey, this pontoons, we got Camp Walleye coming up, fishing openers right here, pontoon rentals, here's all the socials, and it's done.
Wow.
I mean, it takes a while to do, but
like how much time, Kyle? Like
takes me forever. It takes me forever. I gotta walk away, and I can't. It takes me forever. A normal, it wouldn't take you all day. This is almost no content.
No.
Problem is it doesn't take long to do. They're very simple to create. I mean, if you go in and you create these little regular emails here,
They kind of have templates for you to follow, don't they?
Yeah, they have templates. You just hit this design button here.
Right.
I mean, I wasn't going to get into this, but I mean, I have there's some save templates. There's some other templates, start from scratch. They have all of these templates in different formats, different colors. And then you just plug and play.
This is maybe encouraging me to do a school of resorting class on this because I need to make one for myself so bad.
Yeah, it's really not challenging.
Sounds like you could be the one to teach it, Kyle, since you're a writer, Kim. I think it would go so much faster. For me, it's like it takes all of my energy. And so then
my focus.
Yes, exactly. I love it afterwards, like you said, the phone calls but it takes so much energy from me.
Yeah, and we have like almost, I think 4,200 emails between the resorts and random people and compiled through the website and the reservation software. So you can grab everything off of ResStream or all those. You can grab the emails and you literally just a CSV form and you drop them in and they're done.
So you're the one that does the writing, huh? Wow.
All of them. They're terrible.
Wow.
Well, they're reviewed by others, right? Mom reads them, my wife reads them, they both read them, and then they correct it. But
it's free, right? MailChimp, because I was on, if you have underneath so many addresses, right? Like there's
so many addresses per month, and then but in order to get all the designs and stuff that I have, I think it's $50 a month.
You know what?
I'm over that number. So
Kim, since you like some coding, you can also use coding. So even if you were to get one template,
Yes, I wouldn't need all those designs. I would just formulate one first one, and then like with a faded one of your resort pictures in the background, and then that's your formula every month. And you just got to plug in different stuff every month of, here's my new cancellation. Cabin 6 just canceled Prime Week, blah, blah, blah.
I will tell, and you could do that through the newsletter too. If we have any last minutes, you can blast a newsletter and get that on there. I will tell you in MailChimp, once you enter in a lot of this stuff, it automatically populates all that stuff. So all that social stuff, you just click that you want to insert the socials and you can it populates all those socials for you. It populates the address and the unsubscribed stuff underneath it. It populates all that stuff. So once you do it a couple of times,
piece of cake, except you have to actually sit there and do it. Oh my God, this sounds like me in accounting. I'm sitting there trying to balance my bank statement, and it's just like pulling teeth. I just hate it. Ugh. So if you hate writing, I hear you. It's hard to sit down and do it. I get it.
Yep.
There's a lot of chat going on. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. All right.
Yeah, Deanna's got it. Yeah, exactly. Keep your template. That's what I do. Just copy my every time. Have I done one in a while? No, but I need to.
Oh, Diana likes to resort forward too. Good.
Yeah, I haven't totally switched to resort forward yet. Mine's going to be turned on here in between the seasons here. So we'll see.
I hate switching, don't you? Because you always lose information when you switch. Just
no, it's or like your numbers are off for a year. I want to, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to lose information. Yeah, I hear you.
Well, according to those guys, I'm not losing a lot of information.
Yeah, Club had said that too.
All my notes, supposedly all my notes are going across, and all my other stuff that's supposedly it's all going across. So I'm messing with it now, and we'll see what actually comes across and what doesn't come across. They've supposedly reviewed it and had to only manually insert a couple of things. So hopefully that's the case. But I will tell you that these guys entering into this field and doing stuff has has changed some of the other groups. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of features coming out on a lot of the other groups now that weren't there before because these guys are
Customizing.
adding features. Yeah, they're adding a lot of features that are very
Resort
helpful.
Forward, is that the two guys?
Yeah, we call them the Banner Boys.
Okay, the Banner Boys. That's right. It was Banner Software, Banter Software before, something like that.
Banter,
Is that right?
Yep.
We had good. I'm so glad to hear that because they were so fresh and new. And that first group demonstration we did last winter or 2 winters ago, really, I think they had their eyes opened because a lot of us were switching from Reservation Master to ResStream, and we're coming into accounting issues and some other things that were really a challenge. So they were listening, and we were trying to encourage them. Hey, you've got an in here. We've got like 700 resorts in the state of Minnesota, and we're not the only ones. There's resorts in New York and Wisconsin, and you could really get on board here if you could customize it a little bit more. We're not a hotel. We are a resort. We are a different animal, aren't we? I'm glad to hear that.
They've been very responsive too.
Okay.
I'm one of those people that I'm trying to do this. Why doesn't it do this? I can think that it should do this, so therefore it should be able to do it because that's just how I work with all my softwares. They've been really, really responsive to say, yes, that's something that's already in the works, or, hey, great, we're going to add that to our to-do list.
Awesome.
So if there's things that are out there that you guys aren't finding, don't be afraid to just shoot them an email and say, hey, how about this? Because it also could be that you're going about it a different way. And that's usually where I'm stuck at. Who moved my cheese? I'm used to doing XYZ a certain way, and to come into a different software, it's the same thing, but you just click a different button in a different place or something like that. And they're really good at walking you through stuff. So
I'm very glad to hear that. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, staying on this marketing tab, I got a question that says, does anyone use digital ad analysis and ad retargeting? I don't know what those are, so hopefully someone does.
That's like I'm sure Google click-throughs, the Google ads, where Pinnacle did a class on digital marketing a couple of winters ago, right before COVID hit. It was that January and March COVID hit. And they touched on a lot of different things, including a lot of this, where you can get a lot of information. We deal with this on marketing committee on the board quite a lot, which is just, whew. In fact, the other day, Kayla was on for a little bit, but a lady that she hired she's wrapped her whole head around figuring out what our target is, figuring out the best phrases to market your website. I mean, it's down to, oh Lord, yeah, it's overwhelming for somebody like me, for sure. And I do a lot of marketing myself, so I'd rather just hire that out, hire somebody else to do that, or have somebody like Pinnacle or this lady who I can't remember her name. She was very nice.
Amy Jansen.
Amy, yeah, somebody like her to come and do maybe a school of resorting class, even via Zoom, I think would be very helpful. Then you could walk it through and everybody could kind of get on the same board and work it through. Not just a presentation.
What's ad retargeting? I don't know what that means.
So if you go and buy a pair of shoes and then you go to a travel website to look up, you're going to go to Jamaica. On the side, you'll see shoes, the same type of shoes in an advertisement popping up on one side of your screen. That's retargeting because they already know that you are interested in that particular thing. Does that make sense?
It does. So no one does retargeting on Google or any of that other stuff, I'm assuming.
Complicated.
My marketing budget, I do not. I mean, it goes back to that word of mouth and rebooks. I don't want to spend a lot of money on. I mean, if we had big chunks, but for the first time, I'm paying for SEO help, and I would have never done that in the past, just because of the new website. So,
I think that's a good use of funds. The SEO, search engine optimization. Does everybody else do it too? Some kind of, either through your web host or through an outside company? I see one head nod and one head shake. So, okay. I think
I'm
it's worth it.
I'm using some of the tools within. So I use WordPress for my site. And I'll be honest, for a while, I didn't know what this whole Yoast thing was that would send me angry faces quite often. Oh, let's click on that. Oh, look,
I ignore those.
change these few words. All of a sudden now it's going to bring me into a yellow or a green. And so it was just going in and adding information on your site. That's all SEO is. It is something you can do yourself, but it also depends on how your site is hooked up and how easy it is, because Yoast is a plugin, widget, add-on, whatever, that does cost money, but I'm just very lucky that the person who set up my site already had access to it to plug it into my site. So just make sure that you put information in there, a ton of information.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't have a lot on like a certain page, like contact us page has like 2, and then a form, and the form does not create content. The form is a form and it's plugged into your web page. So I have not used the Yoast. I've been ignoring it, but I think that's a great idea. Did it take you a lot of time to do that? Just to I have kind of a heavy website, but I think that would be worth doing. I just have ignored it because I'm paying somebody else to do it for $60 a month for them to do it for me.
You take a little bit at a time. You're like, okay, today I'm going to dig into these pictures.
Good
oh my
idea.
gosh, when you upload pictures, adding all of the stuff behind it about what it is. So it's also ADA accessible, blah, blah, blah. Which is a whole nother thing to worry about out there too. But by adding the description, the meta tags, and all of these other boxes that are there next to your picture, that adds so much more SEO to your entire site. And how many of our sites have a ton of pictures about what our resort is? Now you fill it with the words. You have the words in your picture, you have the words on your actual content that people are reading, and that's what's going to help boost everything. So you just do a little bite at a time. The ADHD person in me is like all or nothing. So I have to remind myself that small bites, a little bit all the time to be consistent, but then it also shows that you're updating your website, which also gives you additional SEO points because you're in there more often instead of just doing it once every couple of years, once a year.
Right. The more often and more frequent that you update, the better your search engine ranking will get because it's active. Good job. Wow, 3 new messages.
On another side note with that, if you haven't been using the Google My Business page, do. Go to the Google My Business page, claim your page, and in there is a place where you can do updates and post. It's going to be more like a blog post type idea or a social media post almost, but that is sharing with maps. And hi, Google's one of the #1 search engines. So it's a really great way to help bring yourself up organically and for free. Hi, I am super frugal when it comes to doing anything online. And that was a huge one that I learned about in my landscape conference earlier this winter, that just even monthly going into the Google My Business page and doing an update, putting another photo in there, putting a little story type blog post can really help your rankings as well.
I've had trouble. I think I used it. I think I even paid for some ads last year. I'm not sure. My whole screen froze. Sorry. Is everybody? Oh, there we go. And then somebody actually texted me through Google, and I got a flagged email, and I kind of clicked on it, but it took me to the Google Maps where my resort is. And I don't know how to, so I can click on reviews and see reviews, but I don't even know how to respond to this person. She actually ended up calling me that same day, so I handled it. But I feel badly because, because it'll tell it kind of like Airbnb or VRBO, you have 24 hours to respond or you'll get a lower rating. Sure. But I didn't get it. So
that's a setting that you might want to look into on your Google Workspace, where they have the option to message you. Because if you unclick that, then they can't do that. We have some people do that too, but I find it convenient. But I've downloaded the app, and things. Our appraiser, for whatever reason, that's his choice of communication is through Google Messages. So I'm like, whatever.
Do what you do.
Yeah, but yeah, if you go into your Google Workspace, you can either, it's an option to let them message you or not.
Okay, I'm gonna click that right now. I'm gonna go try to find, I'm on Chrome, so surely I can find Google My Business.
Yeah.
Thanks for the tips, you guys, I appreciate it. I'm gonna unclick that son of a bitch.
It does make it easy if someone wants to just text you, message you instead. But if you don't like that option, then.
Well, I couldn't respond.
Maybe look, if you want to keep it, were you on your phone?
I think it was on my tablet, and then I forwarded it to my desktop so that I could really see it and use my mouse, and I couldn't access it again. So,
okay.
Yeah,
it might be easier if you actually have the native app and are doing it through there. I think the reply messaging is easier through the app, which I have one on my cell phone. I do a lot of stuff from my desktop as well, but I ignore
it. It's Google My Business app.
Yeah, you can look up Google My Business. They keep changing the name of it all the time.
Yeah,
but
that's why I think that's probably why it brought you to the maps, because now they're like integrated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're getting rid of all those other ones. Just use your maps.
Yep. Good point. Yes.
They're getting rid of all of those other apps. So if you just go into maps, then everything is there. It's linked to your profile.
Google Maps.
So if you go into Google Maps, click on your face in the upper right-hand corner, and then go down to, it says your business profiles. Then you can click on either one of your profiles there, and you can start doing everything you need to do straight from the Maps app, because they're going to get rid of all those other apps.
Holy cow.
And you
can just Google your resort and it'll show up, and then it'll give you, if you're already logged in, it'll give you an option to log in and manage it. So
yeah, but it's not that hard from the Maps app, because they are going to destroy the rest of those apps. It's just like the Facebook business suite. They're going to get rid of that because it's just going to be tied to your regular Facebook account, which I hate, but it is what it is. So it's more challenging. It's worse than the TripAdvisor app it's not even a real app. Because every time you do something, it just puts you straight into, it just wings you straight into like your browser. So.
Technology sometimes. Ugh.
Yep. Okay. Does anyone have anything else that they'd like to bring up? That we knocked out a whole lot of questions today, mostly about groundskeeping, staffing, some cleaning stuff, as well as some marketing. Does anyone have any couple of questions before we go, or?
I need to head out, but sign up for the spring workshop. That's just going to be my plug. We just added another 2 speakers that are going to speak together on actually what you were talking about, Deanna, landscaping, shoreline, also keeping in mind clarity of water. So that'll be good, I think, and interesting. But I gotta head out. Thank you guys.
You, Kayla. Good to see you.
Thanks, Kayla.
Thanks.
Wow.
I love how we get together and can do all of this, especially since we're so spread out across the state. I just really appreciate y'all.
We should do it once a month in the winter, shouldn't we?
Yes. It's the best kind of social interaction.
It is. Well, we can't, even if it was purely social, we wouldn't be able to help talking about resorting. That's what I'm finding. I'm actually hosting a retired resorters meeting at 4:00, chatting with them to just purely social, but I bet we're gonna find a lot of information. I'm wondering what life after resorting looks like, and trying to encourage them to answer some questions about that so I can put it on the website. Not quite as many as I hoped. I think we only have like 8 retired resorters, unfortunately, but there'll probably be more soon. Who knows? It won't be me. I'm in it for another long haul, let me tell you.
There's a couple of 3 on the horizon here.
Yeah, I've talked to a couple of them too. Yeah, unfortunately. But we're in it. As long as I don't die and croak, I'm in it for another. We did our 3-year, 5-year, a 9 and a 20-year plan the other day. So we're in it for a while. It's already been 23 years. So woohoo!
All right.
Well, it was nice to see you. Sorry, I forgot I had a writing Zoom this morning, so I'm sorry I missed. But somebody was asking, by the way, the last Cracker Barrel, they asked me to help edit it. It's now on the website and our CMR YouTube account, both. So after we're done here, I'll probably just go do that too, process it and upload it. And this one will also be on the membership side of the CMR website. So it'll be under education, under School of Resorting and Cracker Barrels. So if you want to review anything, especially look at the chat, it'll be up and running soon.
Excellent.
Thank you for hosting.
It's easy, no problem at all. Nothing to do. Just kind of read the questions that other people have given me. It's not that hard. I appreciate all of you joining us, and we're going to have a couple more things. Like Kayla said, sign up for spring, the workshop that we're going to do in the spring, and then we're going to have a couple more of these things in the fall time. But yeah, we're going to have one more Cracker Barrel at the workshop for sure.
Just a note on the spring, I just clicked on the link of the one that just came out. It says it's an invalid dynamic link.
Uh-oh.
The requested URL must be parsable URI. I don't understand what that language is.
I don't know either.
So maybe I don't know how to click on the link, but it might be an incomplete link for the spring workshop.
Nope, let me find it. I could probably help them. I did not do that part because I retired off the board here. I'm a member at large board member, but I can probably help. So,
and that's the one that just came out yesterday for the what's happening. So the link that's in that one.
Oh, was it an email, like an email blast?
Yeah, the email blast that came out. Yeah,
that would be Sue's department. I can't, she does that. The office manager. So website stuff I can do. We'll have to maybe do you mind, Dana, just replying to Sue and just letting her know that?
Yes, I will, because the one in another email just opened up, but not the newest one. So okay. I will.
Perfect. Thanks everybody. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good day, everyone.